conversations where we are brewing up authentic conversations all about relationships and self-love, one episode at a time. I am Tanya.
And I'm Tiffany.
And welcome. And this is our first episode.
First one.
So
yes.
so we our viewers probably want to know, like, why?
Why?
What is Black Coffee Conversations?
And who we are.
And who the heck are we?
Yes,
right?
There you go.
Yes. So why Black Coffee Conversations?
So we go back a little ways.
Yes, we did.
I mean, we went through a journey together.
We did.
And I remember that first day.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So we met in our doctoral program.
Yes,
Trevecca, yes, our leadership program.
Yes.
And wow, what a time that was for us of learning,
yes.
unlearning, relearning.
Yes, growing, really getting to know ourselves on a deeper level as well.
Yeah,
it's more than just academics.
It is. And I think, there's a call to leadership. And I think that's also in both of us and maybe a part of the reason why we're here doing this.
Definitely.
Years later.
Yeah. It's amazing how things just kind of come full circle and there's just a reason. It's all about timing. And here we are because that was in 2015. When we started.
We graduated 2018.
Yes. Exactly.
And then we have so many points of connection.
We do.
We go to the same church.
Yes, we do.
Our mamas sit on the same row.
Yes, they do. Every Sunday.
Yes. They're good friends.
Yes.
And we also, our families were impacted by the passing of our fathers around the same time. And so the Lord just kept bringing us together.
Yes. And I will tell you, even when I had the vision of starting this podcast, your name just came to my spirit.
Wow.
And that's why I love how God is just so awesome. But you came to my spirit. And we had not even had a conversation. We had not even spoken.
No, but I'll tell you this. Mm-hmm. I would see you post videos, and you are so funny. You'll be dancing and just do a quick little snippet. And I was I always felt that what you did resonated with me, your spirit and just sort of your transparency and your ability to be authentically you.
Yes.
So,
and you know what? Right back at you. And I know that we're kind of the same generation, but actually a little bit different.
Okay.
As well. You're a little bit, a little bit younger than me.
I'm X, on the cusp of being a millennial. So I'm right there.
Yeah.
Before the internet took off. I remember getting to college and I really wasn't tech savvy. And I felt like other kids we played Oregon Trail. Stuff like that. And I got to college and they gave me an email address and I was like, am I supposed to use this all the time?
Yeah.
I still had a pager.
So, right. Well, you know what? I'm from the completely Generation X.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm from the generation where at one time we were still using a payphone.
Yeah.
Still having our pagers, calling on a cell phone. I mean, I remember, I think my first dating was our AOL dial-up.
Yes.
And I think we even had to dial up to do I think it was blackpeoplemeet.com. I mean, so I am from that generation.
Yeah.
And so I think what's really great about this podcast is that we're bringing things from different perspectives.
Absolutely.
And from different places, in a sense, we're kind of both in Generation X, but just like you said, you're still on the cusp of that millennial generation.
And we have evolved and relationships have evolved.
Yes.
And so I think that we have the ability to sort of bridge the gap of how things have changed.
Yes.
What's positive about those changes? Yeah. What's not so positive? What's toxic now?
That's
how we define relationships today versus and I think our understanding of how we were raised and what we did in our formative years, we still have that in us. It still plays a part in how we relate to each other.
Yes. And I think that our viewers will see just the different perspectives because I think there's some similarities in how generations, go about dating, but then there are also some differences and it has everything to do with the generation and the time that we grew up.
Yes.
But I think that that's what makes this work. And I think when I was really praying on this, I think about Black love. You think about all of some of the negativity that you see on social media. So many blanket statements that are sometimes made about, all Black women are this way, all Black men are that way.
Putting everything in a box.
Putting everything in a box. And I don't think you can have enough positive podcasts that are trying to say, what can we do to grow and bring about positivity in our relationships, but really about growing ourselves.
Yeah.
Because it's really about us evolving, us learning from our past experiences, us evolving and growing. And I think just having conversations about that helps. I know it helps me.
Yes, and there needs to be a voice for wellness in our community, a voice that speaks to, just lifting those things that make us unique, that can help us out and, help us communicate with each other better. So I hope that we can touch on some of those things and not just nitpick at all the negativity and those narratives that are out there right now.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah. What is your why? Because I know when I called you, I was kind of telling you my vision about kind of my why, Black Coffee Conversations. What about you? What did you feel that this would be about?
Well, when you called, I was skeptical. You know that, just because I am a very private person. And I think that sometimes I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to put my business out there. But no, God showed me that was not the case. I think that my why and what I feel that I pour into this work is I have, for a very long time as a single woman, been on my own journey of self-discovery. And I have worked very hard to edify myself with, reading, journaling, meditating, therapy, and just enhancing my level of emotional intelligence, understanding where I came from and the energy that was in my household that raised me, understanding the traditions that come down my family line and those things that make me who I am. So I think that self-awareness is what I bring, and just, a real eagerness to grow and learn more and share that with everyone else.
And I have to say this, the more that I'm getting to know you, I won't even say I think, but I know that's why God connected us. For those that know me, I'm kind of an emotional person, but I'm very, I think logically.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I love the fact that you are very emotional and very much into the psyche, I think, of relationships. And so we go about things differently, but still kind of have some of the same goals in terms of relationships. So I think we're bringing our viewers just different perspectives where viewers will be able to learn from both of us. But I think that's what I really love about you so much. But I think we both have kind of done our own journey.
Yes.
And I think that's important.
And they're very different and very unique.
Very unique. And I think too, because I tend to be, and we talked about this, I am very real, very authentic. Sometimes I wonder, you talked about yourself, really being private. I'm very open. And I think I've kind of come to that place and that point in my life where I feel like God takes you through things to help and be a testimony to others. Yeah. Because there's so many people out there that feel like they're in it by themselves. Yeah. Or sometimes people look at all the social media and think people have this perfect life and have everything together. But I think people need to understand that none of us are perfect. We've all had our own journeys. But I think that when God is able to pull you through things, like I want to be able to help someone else make it through.
Yeah.
And I was even getting, chats and messages about I'm going through the same thing, or I went through the same thing, and thanks for being open because it's helping me to get through it.
Yeah.
That means something to me. That makes, me being authentic and honest, that makes it all worthwhile.
And I think we're deeply aligned in the wanting, I want the blessings to channel through me to help someone else. So I try to seek as much knowledge as I can, and maybe the wisdom that I've had from my experiences and what I have learned through those experiences that have shaped me will help other people.
Yes. And so let's talk about this. We are both single.
Both single.
And that's very different too, because we're both single, but we had, I guess, different journeys to get us to this point.
Yes.
So for the viewers, which some may know, I am actually twice divorced. I originally, initially got married at a very young age, 22.
Okay.
And then again, around 30. Okay. So basically divorced. I have 3 children. I have a 28-year-old and then 18-year-old twins.
Okay.
So my journey of love and all of that, has now brought me to this place of being an empty nester and yet divorced at, 53.
Yes.
And you?
I have been single. I've been a serial monogamous seasons of my life. I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. So I've also been engaged. But I think a turning point for me was after my father's passing. It let me know how finite time was. And so I didn't want to get into any relationship that I felt like was a distraction to my purpose and not that anybody is a distraction, but I think the relationship itself can be a distraction if you're using it to sort of put a bandage on the work that you don't want to do on yourself. So I just decided I would embrace my singleness, embrace, the fact that I may or may not decide to be a mother, which I love children. I have nieces. I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. So I do love children and I do love to pour into children, but I just wasn't sure if it was meant for me to raise one or to birth one. But the Lord has allowed me to birth other things, and that is a form of creation as well. So I'm allowing him to use me how he wants to use me. And
that's so key. And I love that because we have even both had the conversations about how we're hopeless romantics.
Yes.
And I think that has kind of gotten me in trouble in a sense, or rather making not the best decisions. I'm jumping to love too quickly, which is why I'm, twice divorced. Of course, we could go on and on. There's a lot more to unpack in that.
Yes.
But really, to me, waiting on God, doing it the right way. And I think that's another thing that I think that we can help, viewers. It's just I'm very authentic about, you never want to say mistakes, but some of the decisions that we made that probably were not the best. God was not involved, but we serve such an awesome God. Everything that you went through can still be used for your good.
Absolutely. And it's okay to love. It's okay to love people, but you got to love yourself more than you love and more than you love people.
There you go.
So
there you go.
I'm always going to be wired the way I'm wired. I had a sweet mama and she loved on me a lot. So that's just who I am at my core. It took a lot of seasons to learn that other people didn't have that in them. People can show up and they can be nice. They can be friendly. The outer presentation can be a lot of things. But when you start to come into agreement with someone or become yoked with them, you soon realize, that you can't give them what you got in you. You can't pour out of your cup and fill their void. Both people have to come to the relationship with full cups. And I mean, that might sound unrealistic or because we're all working through something, we're all, still on a healing journey from things. We're all in a growth process, and relationships can be the greatest container for growth. I mean, they really can. If two people work together and you are committed to, emotionally regulating yourself, taking responsibility for your own energy, not needing them to fill you up, not sucking from them. I think that you can walk side by side with someone and you guys can love and learn and heal together.
And I think that's what this is about. I think having conversations like this, which is why even with my children, I'm very real and very open about relationships, because I think it's important for us to have these types of conversations, to talk about the importance of loving you, that making sure that you're also growing before you connect with someone. And I don't know if it's generational, I think it is because I know that the baby boomer generation really didn't have those open, authentic
No,
conversations at
and the
all.
traditionals, their parents never had them
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
was about working,
Yes.
raising them
That was it.
kids.
Yes. Yeah.
It wasn't bad though.
And then also they stayed married regardless.
They
also.
did.
They did.
But I do feel that some women endured abuse staying in relationships because during that time you didn't talk about the business that was going on in your house.
You did not.
You didn't leave your family.
You did not.
So there were different norms then.
Exactly.
But the baby boomers, I think, started the divorce boom.
They did. They did. And we just completely came in.
Oh, man. We just like, oh, you don't like my t-shirt? All right, bye.
Right. And so really, I think there needs to be a little bit of balance.
Now we ghosting.
We're ghosting.
We out like vapor.
Exactly. There you go. And so I think there needs to be some balance. Again, another reason to have these conversations.
Just to lay it all out on the table, see what we working with, see what we want to get rid of, and see what's productive.
What we want to keep. Exactly.
Yeah. Because
exactly.
I think relationships are all about bearing fruit. They're about two people coming together to produce something new within each other and within life and within the world. So yeah, I think that we can talk about some things. Yeah. We can be a voice in all this madness for something positive in our community.
That's right. So with that being said, what do you look for in a mate?
Oh, Lord.
I'm just like, what are you, we're both single. I mean, I've been divorced now for 5 years, but what do you look for?
You know what? Honestly, at this, I'm not going to say this late age, but this tender age.
This tender age. That's what we call it.
Yes, this tender age. Okay. I would say I'm looking for simplicity. I'm looking for something that feels good, feels easy, makes the day brighter, makes my week easier, lightens my load. Just something where, because I'm not overthinking anything. If I have to force something or overthink something at this point, I'm not doing it because it makes me anxious. It really doesn't feel well to me. Like it gets all in my stomach and I don't like that feeling. So when I'm around a gentleman, if his energy makes me feel more relaxed and more Tiffany, that little lift you get when you're with the right person, that's what I need in a partner. And we can do anything. We can talk about anything. We can go anywhere. We can, Do you feel like
do you feel like there are a lot of men to select from? Are you going out on dates? I'm just curious because people do wonder. They talk about, there's a shortage of good men. And, do you feel that you...
I don't feel there's a shortage of men.
Right.
I don't.
I don't either, and I'm older than you.
I feel that we are more homebound now. So I think you really, especially if you're not an app person, if you're not someone that wants to meet people in a virtual way, and that's not my preference. So I want to go outside. I want to see you and you see me. I want to feel whatever I feel, and then I want to have a conversation with you.
Have you ever been on an online platform?
I have tried an online platform, but it was very brief. But I did meet two great guys from that experience. And when I met them too, I was like, delete. So just because, it's like picking out puppies at the pound. You're like, oh, that one has short ears. Swipe. I mean, it's exhausting. And then you putting your best found puppy picture. It's not sexy. It's not mysterious enough for me, and I need a little flair of romance. So yes, it's not my forte, and I probably will never. I won't never say what you never do, but I feel no urge to get back on that app.
Where do you meet them? Because
you gotta go outside, girl.
I'm too much of a homebody because I have been on the dating apps, and I guess I looked at it as a way, which I'm really tired of them too, of swiping left and right, mostly left. But I do feel like it gives you an opportunity to get to know someone too. because you're having that conversation. I don't go out, so you're right. So because where would you go to meet them? Where do you go to meet men? We're all so busy. I feel like at this age, we're all so busy with our careers or with children. Even though I'm an empty nester, still, they're always there.
Yeah.
You're still busy. And so what were the other options?
I'm going to say this. I feel like when you are really ready, and that means that, when you step out, you look good. You smell good. You feel good. You can meet him at the grocery store.
My other girlfriend says
yes, you can.
At the Publix, at the Kroger.
Wherever you go, you need to be representing your best self.
Would a man approach you in Publix or Kroger?
Does your energy invite him to approach you? When you're at the gym and you getting that set in, and it's the sexy something over there getting his set in, do you meet his gaze? Do you smile at him? Like, I think your energy can bring you whatever it is that you're looking for. So you get in alignment with what that is, and you don't have to worry about where you're going to meet him.
And you know what? Maybe I'm just such a homebody and do everything, my grocery shopping and everything else online. I rarely go out, but I agree with you. I think I would love to be able to meet someone authentically at a grocery store or, I don't know, at a function.
We need to date ourselves.
Okay.
So that means you get dressed up, you take yourself out on a date, go to a restaurant you've been wanting to try, sit at the bar, be cute, be sexy, smile, and keep doing it. Keep showing up, like just to please yourself, just to romanticize your own life, and that person will come. I mean, I meet a lot of guys. I haven't met my person yet. At least I don't know that I've met my person yet, and maybe I have. That's for me to know and you to find out. But I think that doing that has really opened the door for people to be curious about me and want to talk. And even if it's not like a dating, you still meet a lot of interesting people.
And you know what? This is exactly why we're doing this podcast. Just there's so many reasons, but I mean, this is a journey. And
somebody needed to know that.
I needed to know that. Because there are probably a lot of viewers just like me. We're at home. We're homebodies. And so I completely embrace, and I'm going to what's the word? I'm accepting that, and I'm going to do that because I don't do enough of that. Of getting dressed out and going out. It is, if I'm getting dressed and going out, it is my career. It is my job. But I do like that I do have to get out there.
And I have found that the more that I sort of date myself and get to know different people and put myself in different atmospheres, it causes me to sort of want to increase my conversation skills, increase, things that I can talk about when I'm in these situations. So it's growth for me, just like trusting the process.
I like that, because a lot of times people feel that the conversation, we just don't have that anymore. There's so much texting. Yeah. So I like that you're saying that.
Yeah, I met a guy at a party, and it was just so refreshing because it was so 90s style, and it was a 90s themed party.
You are a 90s vibe.
And it was just such a coincidence that, like, we locked eyes across the room, real 90s vibe, and I was like, yes. I know I manifested that moment because that's what I really wanted. I was like, I wanted to have that experience that we used to have when we met somebody that we thought was fine.
So let's talk about that, because there are some good men out there, and there are people that will say differently. Like I said, so much on social media, all you hear are negative things. Sometimes, at least that's a lot of what I hear. Negative things. All black women are this way. All black men are cheaters. There's no good black men out there. Yet here we are, at least me in my 50s, you at your age in your 40s, and we're still saying there are good black men out there.
That never changed. I just think this is the information age, and this is like a hashtag age or a soundbite age. And so people get really addicted and connected to these little sayings and these little compartmentalized like, situationships and just whatever they're calling something these days.
Yeah,
they get
sure.
really addicted to those narratives. And then this algorithm is created and this little community comes together to really feed energy into that. And then some more stuff is birthed from that. So this stuff is happening in the virtual world, but it's also impacting us psychologically because we're not outside. We're home on our couch engaging in these conversations with strangers. So if you do that every day, how healthy is that? How addicted can you get to hearing that negativity every day?
That's right. And you know what? I think we talk about the faith that we have in God. And one time this kind of came to me, because we talk about the ratio, men, they just have the selection and the men are going after the younger women and that there are less to choose from. And it was like, Tanya, you serve a Lord, okay?
Of abundance.
5,000 plus with two fish sandwiches.
Two fish sandwiches.
If he can do that.
Yeah.
I don't care what they're saying the ratio is.
Right.
Tanya, God has the person for you. Yeah. I don't care what the statistics say and what the ratio says of black men to black women. This is the Lord that you serve. And that came to me and I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
So sometimes when the timing is right, when I'm right, when I've grown, when I've evolved, when I've worked on myself, then that's when that will happen.
And not everybody serves that God. So that's why they saying whatever they saying and listening. They finding gurus to feed them, whatever they feed them. And them gurus are getting rich off of feeding them.
Yeah. Because it's sales.
Yeah.
Right? There's some things that just sells. And I think sometimes just hearing that negativity or some of the things you see, it sells and, it gets traction. It gets people are clicking on it. And I think it's just time that we just get away from all of that. And guys, let's work on self.
Well, with these conversations, I think that we get an opportunity to be a little bit vulnerable. Yeah. To say, I have insecurities.
Yes.
You have insecurities. Yes. We share this insecurity instead of sharing it with each other in a way and engaging in a way that's toxic.
Right.
How can we talk about and peel back the layer of those insecurities and how can we heal it?
That's right.
And rewrite, reframe it, And
it can be a little scary being
It can be scary.
Being vulnerable with someone and being honest can be very scary, but it's worth it in the end. The healing,
it is.
The honesty, especially if we're talking about healthy relationships.
So I'm going to tell you something. My therapist gave me a great little visual for vulnerability. He was like, when you are afraid to really be in your authenticity and really be vulnerable, remember that it's your inner child that either got rejected, got abandoned, and you're not a little girl anymore. He was like, you're not a little girl anymore. If they abandon you, they abandon you. Bye. You don't have to sit there at the window crying, because you are not that little girl anymore. Let her, send her to her room, So I think sometimes we don't wake up from that. Sometimes we stay so connected in that pain and that rejection. And it's a new season. Even your cells regenerate every 7 years. You're not even the same body you had when you were a child. So I think that was very impactful for me to sort of separate the two. And something else he advised me on, which has been a great thing for me, is just creating, whatever I would imagine my higher self to be, or my ideal self, or the Tiffany I want to be. Create her and get to know her. I can be who I am right now, but see her. What are her characteristics? How does she show up in a room? What type of wife is she? If you want to be a wife, what type of wife is she? How does she move in the world? So sometimes you have to separate yourselves, in order to get clear. And
but you just also said something that I think, especially in the Black community, we need to listen to this. You said my therapist.
Yes.
Therapist.
Yes.
And when it comes to the Black community, sometimes in us seeking help, therapy, we don't do that.
No,
and
we don't.
It's necessary.
Yeah, I dated a guy. He told me therapy was for weak men, and I said, we can't go together no more. And I meant that because
you know what? And I'm going to say this because I have been to try different counseling. I mean, even through, of course, going through my divorce, trying to do counseling there. Haven't had the best experience. So there's reasons also sometimes, I think, as to why we do not. As well as sometimes I think it's the inner strength. I can just get through this.
Yeah.
I depend on God, and that's what I'm going to do to make it through these things. And that's what I told myself a lot. Like, I'm a strong person. I've got my faith is strong. God has seen me through this. He's going to see me through these other things. But sometimes that therapy from a qualified individual can help you see things from another perspective, things you just didn't even know.
Yeah.
Maybe something that was there. Because I'm trying to be strong, but perhaps I'm not bagging up to go to other things, as you said, your childhood, to talk about where certain things started.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe that's what a therapist can help us to do.
Yeah, I don't know why we do that try to be strong thing, because it's giving us heart attacks. So it's clogging our arteries. I mean, we're not strong when we eat that fried chicken and that cake. So I don't know why. I don't know why people won't go get us some help.
I think it's just, I don't know. And you just sat up there and said that, the other gentleman that you were speaking to said he felt like that's for the weak.
He did.
Because we're I think a people that we've always been able to overcome. And so we push and push, and you're right. It's
making us sick.
Toll on our health and our mental health and our physical health.
And look at how we loving each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. So the writing's on the wall. I just think we need to get out of our own way. And
I agree. Yeah. And maybe that's what we're going to talk a lot more about, because really before we can start talking about relationships with others, we really have to do some healing within. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot of those conversations, we're going to be talking just about that. And that's healing self first.
Yeah.
So it looks like our time is about up. Yes. This was great. I'm excited.
I am too, and I hope that our viewers feel like they got to know us a little bit. I hope you get to know us a lot more through this journey as we're getting to know ourselves and each other. And we'll have a lot of exciting guests, won't we? Yes. Just people coming from different perspectives. We want men on the show, young people, because we're all in different places. We all had sort of a different type of experience, and so
it's important for us to listen to all of that.
Take
all of that in, learn and grow. So hey, if you have not subscribed to Black Coffee Conversations, hit that subscribe button, share, follow, all of that.
Find us on Spotify too.
That's right. Facebook, Spotify, and then also every other Tuesday at 7 p.m.
We'll be dropping a new episode.
Yes, we're dropping a new episode every other Tuesday at 7 p.m. We'll see you. Take care.